there's no creativity in Juventus's midfield. You're asking a lot of keys on the right-hand side. And if you look at the left, which is always my concern, it was Fabrotta getting past Aaron Ramsey, whether you could fix that with Weston McKennie. But then you saw how that left them exposed in the build-up to the second goal. That big gap, once Fabrotta gets forward, between him and the centre-back. And somebody who can pass the ball would expose that. And that, for me, it speaks to Juventus's weaknesses and why, as much as I've been saying that I think come the end of the season they'll be there. No, I'm starting to go against that.
Gab, how big a deal is it that the defending champions and the favourites to win the title this season seem to be falling so far behind?
I mean, well, when we look at this, we need to remind ourselves that they do have a game in hand, and they're still going in the Champions League. Now,
well, they're not going to win. They're not going to win the Champions League, Gab. So that doesn't matter, does it? That's that done. I
don't know. You go tell Cristiano Ronaldo he's not going to win the Champions League.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo needs to turn up, which he didn't do today.
So yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he had a poor game today. He also didn't get the service. But this is the thing, you can't rely on Cristiano Ronaldo putting on his cape and doing the Superman act. That's not going to happen every single game. It's a big deal. Like I said, you don't like it when I bring up the transition word, but from the club's perspective,
Gab, I understand you've got perspective on this. Yeah, you can look at the big picture. You have that ability, but Juventus's fans surely aren't as patient and tolerant as you are with the situation that they're seeing unfold. And today was kind of a microcosm, wasn't it, of what is going wrong at this club at the moment?
I mean, I think it's a fair point. These games are being played without fans, right? So in terms of how the fans feel, we have to rely on what's on message boards and whatever is out there. So far, having spent a little bit of time on those crazed Juve message boards, I can tell you that most fans seem to understand the situation. The fact that there's no money, the pandemic, all this stuff, you're not going to fix this. I mean, to Jurgen's point in midfield, in terms of getting somebody with a bit of passing, a bit of spark, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get somebody, not him necessarily, but like a Lucas Torreira, somebody like that, some cheap and cheerful guy who at least can keep the ball and can pass it and keep it ticking over and isn't going to slow everything down. That is about the best that they can do right now. I think people understand the situation. They have won 9 titles in a row. At some point, if this continues, obviously people are going to point fingers at Pirlo and say enough of him. But this was all part of the downside plan when they hired Pirlo. It's not a good situation, and I think if they feel that the top 4 is threatened, I think that is when they might act. We're not quite there yet.
From an Inter perspective, not meaning to kind of be a Debbie Downer on it all, Jurgen, but you look at their Champions League group, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Real Madrid and Shakhtar, you only win one of those games. You look at that performance today, and you think, how on earth did that happen?
I think there might be a group that is slowly growing together. I think they went through a lot of pain with losing in the group stage of the Champions League. I mean, it's not an only discussion about is the coach right or wrong. It's also about, do they have chemistry? Do they stick together? So they went through a lot of negative moments there in the early part of the season because of that. And now they realized, okay, if there's something really out there to win, it has to be the Scudetto. It has to be the championship. So the summit today was a real testimonial of a team that was hungry for every one against one battle. They were fighting all over the place. They were there for each other. I mean, if even they look at the partnership, Lautaro and Lukaku. Today they really were there for each other. It was a really big statement. So I think there's something growing there. It gives them a lot of confidence. Obviously, with this result, it's the main rival in their history. And they hopefully continue that path.
For Juventus going forward, Jurgen, I dismissed it obviously with Gab, the possibility of going on and being successful in Europe. Am I being too quick to jump to conclusions from what we've seen so far this season? It's just difficult for me to see a path in which Juve improve significantly to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich and Manchester City come at the end of the spring.
Well, the biggest challenge always for the big teams like a Juve, like a Man City, like a Bayern Munich is how can you handle a transition period? How big is that transition? You know, how many players do you look at? You know, so when you go through the roster or you go through your starting 11, you know, at Bayern Munich, you see year in, year out, you see 1 or 2 positions being possibly changed. So the younger one that is kind of in a second position of a specific role, he waits for his moment, and then comes the moment and they make the switch. Now, if you look at the Juventus roster at the moment, you see there are some issues in the back line, you know, because of age. Even if Chiellini, I think, played an outstanding game, he played a battle there with Lukaku. I got to give him a compliment. But, you know, his time is kind of running out. Bonucci as well. So when you start then this type of transition, you know, you got to be lucky as a coach in this time than Andrea Pirlo, when it's not too many players that kind of require that type of a switch, this type of a change. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo is there certainly for another couple of years. You can count on him. But I think Gab was totally right. They have some issues in the midfield. They need more creativity. They need more spark to it. And so they will definitely look into the market probably in the summertime. But I hope that they give the time to Andrea Pirlo. He has clear ideas. He has a good vision of things. Obviously, he will gain experience. You know, with every game as a coach, he will gain experience. And then you can see definitely Juventus climbing up also in the table of the league. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.